Sports Video Group's Jason Dachman. We are at the SVG Summit in New York City, and I'm with Mary Ellen Carlyle of Dome Productions. Mary Ellen, thanks so much for taking some time today.
No problem.
So you guys have really been pushing the envelope when it comes to 4K and HDR. As much as any mobile facility provider out there, you guys have been at the forefront of both of those technologies. HDR really taking an extra leap over the last 12 months. Tell us about a few of the shows that you guys have done in HDR and what you've kind of learned along the way.
Okay. Well, first of all, we're about 700 events in 4K now, and
Wow.
the Winnipeg Jets just went 4K. So we started the HDR with Brian Setzer last year and went live to DirecTV. A little bit of a challenge, but it worked well. It's probably the best footage I've seen in HDR. And then we went from there to a UConn game for Sports Channel New York. Again, HD for them and 4K HDR for DirecTV. And then just recently we started the Raptors 4K. We did Raptors for about 3 years now in 4K. And then we added HDR, and then just the last three of them we've added Dolby Atmos.
Right. So are you thinking that this will continue? I mean, are we seeing a business that is maturing, for lack of a better term, in terms of HDR?
Well, this is my take only, but I believe as the Amazons and the Netflix and the Apple start bringing HDR to our viewer, they're going to start wanting a demand, and it's only a matter of time that's going to go to the sports.
Right.
So
right.
I think HDR is here to stay. I just don't know where we're going to be on 1080p or 4K yet, and I don't think anybody does.
I don't think anybody does, but we do know that it's probably going to be a one-truck show, I would think, right?
Oh, it has to be. It
Can't be a side-by-side.
Ours is not side-by-side.
Right.
We moved to one truck probably last year. So it's one truck. We can do HD, 4K, and HDR. So.
And you guys do a lot more than sports, obviously. Of course, plenty of sports shows every single year, but you do some other events like G7, right? Tell us a little bit about that unique show.
So we did the G7 this year, and our Prime Minister wanted to show that Canada was at the edge of technology, and we did that in 4K HDR. We had 23 cameras. We did all of the E&G footage HDR and ingested it. For the broadcasters, it was all SDR, though. So at the same time, we were sending it out to the web, Facebook, Twitter. So very complicated, but it worked.
Right.
So, and it was a one-truck unit.
That's great. And I mean, HDR, it creates a beautiful picture, but the visual is just half of the equation, right? You guys are also doing some Dolby Atmos, which is just a hell of an experience if you can actually get out there and experience it. Is that continuing to develop, and which shows did you guys do in Atmos so far?
The only Atmos ones we've done is the Toronto Raptors, and we've only done 3 of them, but each one you can see the audio operator changing his mind. Oh, I'm going to push this out here. So it's still a work in progress. There's a few units out there can actually take it into the home, but it went well. It's still a challenge. I wouldn't say we're there yet, but we're getting there. That's
great. Well, that's 2018. Now we're almost in 2019, so what do you guys have in store for us come next year? Maybe some teasing of Dome's production plans next year.
So Dome is building a truck. It's going to launch in June, late June, and it is totally different than what you are used to today. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll see you in June.
Okay, totally different, and I'm sure SVG, I hope, will be all over that once it comes in June. Mel, thanks so much for taking some time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to sportsvideo.org for more reports from the SVG Summit in New York City.